The continuous downscaling of LEGO Star Wars vehicles has been one of the worst trends in LEGO's history, and we may have just reached a point where it's too much. And with that, welcome to my set review of set number 75413, Clone Tiny, Republic Juggernaut. This set is of course part of the LEGO Star Wars 2025 summer lineup. It comes with 813 pieces, 8 minifigures, and it retails for roughly 150 euros and 160 US dollars. Yeah, we're gonna discuss this outrageous price tag later. Now to start this review off on a positive note, I have to say I really like the box art. While it's not my Gitu and I don't know where this takes place and I still don't know why it's a Juggernaut and not a UT-80, I do have to say the box art looks really amazing. With all the Galactic Marines, Bukhara, Ki-Adi-Mundi and the Juggernaut in action, looks really great. I really love the front of the box. The back of the box is solid, it's the same kind of scenery and landscape. You get a couple of features there and the Juggernaut when it's open, so you can see the interior. Nothing to brag about, but yeah, it's a solid backside. Now when opening the set, on the inside you're gonna find a total of 6 numbered bags. Yeah, this is where the first alarm bell should start ringing. It's 6 bags for 160 bucks. You're also gonna get an additional bag with some sand blue parts. I don't know why they're packed separately, but this is just how it is. And you're also gonna get the instruction manual with a pretty straightforward building process and a small sticker sheet. Once again, keep in mind, this set costs 160 bucks retail. 6 numbered bags. Yeah. Moving on to the figures and starting with one of the most exciting releases of this year, this is the Galactic Marine. You get 3 of these troopers in the set, which are all the same, and I do have to say, besides 1 or 2 nitpicks, this is an amazing minifigure. I love this maroon red color on the Galactic Marine. You get some nice torso printing with these belts and everything and the pouches going over the torso, and also some scratches from the battle. You get some nice leg printing, and once again, the big disappointing thing here, it's not a physical waistcape, it's once again a printed one, which just doesn't look good. It doesn't do the same job as a physical waistcape does. It looks bad, it looks cheap. Just switch it out for a regular waistcape out of cloth. Otherwise, the torso and leg printing looks really awesome. Some nice details there, I can't tell anything that is wrong on here. And there's also hip printing, so the torso transitions nicely into the legs, which is awesome. What I also think is really nice that it didn't fear the cost of making a new helmet for the Galactic Marine. Instead of reusing the Snowtrooper helmet, which was kind of the community rumor for a long time, if they would do Galactic Marines they would probably reuse it. No, this is a totally new helmet, it's dual molded, it looks amazing. The maroon red is a separate piece and the white thing is a separate piece, looks amazing. However, the helmet is still not perfect. The print for the eye section or like the lenses is a little bit too deep down instead of directly under the red part, which looks a little bit goofy, but you can't notice it too much, so it's fine. The bigger problem in my opinion is that the lenses aren't like this dark green color, like you see them usually on Galactic Marines. I don't know why they did it in black. It's not the biggest problem for me, it doesn't ruin the minifigure for me. But I don't know, these in green, I think it would have been a way better look on the helmet. Now under the helmet you're just gonna find the normal standard modern LEGO Clone Trooper face. I like this face, I think it's a very solid face for Clone Trooper, it's good. Now when we take a look at the backside of the Trooper, it is a little bit disappointing. There is a backpack that is brick built, but they didn't print the tile, which looks a little bit cheap and like something's missing there. I don't know why, I think simple print could have just elevated the look from the back of the figure 10 times. But yeah, they cheaped out on this in my opinion and it doesn't look that great. If you take the backpack off, which you're probably not gonna do because Galactic Marines have backpacks, but there's still a very nice print on the backside of the torso, which looks really great. Sadly, this backside gets a little bit ruined by the unprinted tile on the backpack. And now taking a look at one of the last very important missing clone commanders, this is Commander Bukhara. And I do have to say overall I think he's really nice, but he has a couple of flaws, which is a little bit disappointing. But for a little heads up first, I think the helmet is almost flawless. I think the molding that they created specially for this helmet mold, as it's of course a very special silhouette this helmet has, is amazing. The little antenna that is molded into it is awesome, these flaps that go on the side of his helmet down is really great. I also really like the printing of his helmet, like the 2 red dots are right, these stripes are right on his cheeks. And the only issue I have is his mouth section. It is a little bit too small and doesn't fully go till the cheek area, if you know what I mean. It looks a little bit too small and doesn't look right, but otherwise it's a great helmet. Now the torso may look accurate in the first look, but it isn't as great as it may seem. The straps that going across the torso are right, however the breastplate is black and not grey with the maroon stripe, which is sadly inaccurate. Also in general there's not enough maroon on this figure in terms of color. so it leaves a little bit off balance and just he seems too white overall when compared to his movie look of the armor. Yeah, it sadly is not an accurate torso print, which is disappointing. Speaking of disappointment, of course, once again, this figure doesn't come with a physical waist cape. It's these two red stripes that should simulate the look of a waist cape. It doesn't do its justice, it doesn't look good, it looks weird from the side as a little cutoff. Yeah, the rest of the leg detailing is really nice, I like it, but these non-physical waist capes, I don't know why they keep doing this, it just ruins the bottom section for me. Under Bakara's helmet, you're just gonna find the normal standard clone face, so not a special face for him, but I don't even know if we ever see him without his helmet, so yeah, I don't really care about that. Overall, I still have to say they look awesome together, especially Bakara with a bunch of Marines and then Ki-Adi-Mundi somewhere. It looks amazing still, but yeah, the little details that they could have changed and made these figures perfect is just sad. It's a little disappointing, especially considering the big price tag on this set. I feel like there are a couple of flaws here that should have been corrected in the first place. This is just, I don't know. I'm still very happy that we got these characters finally in Lego form, and I think mostly they're good, but they're just close to being very, very good or perfect, and I don't know why they don't want to do this. And here is the last character missing to make the squad perfect. This is of course Ki-Adi-Mundi. If you're gonna put Galactic Marines and Bakara in a set, you of course have to put Ki-Adi-Mundi in it. Usually I would also want to see a UT-80, but yeah, this is a discussion for later. But I have to say Ki-Adi-Mundi is a flawless figure. I have really nothing where I could criticize this character here. It looks amazing. I think the torso printing looks really awesome with the Jedi belt and the printed robes here. Then it moves down to the legs with the hip printing, which looks really great. Really nice detail here, can't complain. Contrary to some opinions online, I don't think that Ki-Adi-Mundi needs arm printing. If you look at the costume design of him in Rods, he doesn't really have anything than this beige sleeve here, or like this beige top outfit. I don't think there is arm printing really necessary. The printing on the head looks really awesome, and also of course this molded piece for his, top part of the head looks really great. We've had this for a couple of years, but I still always like it when they include it. There's also some solid printing on the backside of his torso and the head. Yeah, I think it's a really nice looking figure with the lightsaber, looks really great. Lego also threw in 3 battle droids, which is not much more than a throw in really, but I really like when you get a bunch of battle droids in a set. B1 battle droids don't need any kind of change. I think these minifigures have been perfect for all these years. Really great. I always like when they put some droids in a set. Now that we've finished talking about the minifigures, I think we have to take a look at the Republic Juggernaut. And to be honest, if you ignore the price tag and some of the flaws that we will go over, I think for this play, this model is really solid. It's not that big and we will talk about that later, but from the silhouette and the building techniques and all the angles that they do, I think it's a really solid model given the scale it is built in. Looks wise, it's way better than I expected. I think when I first saw some pictures from the leaks, I thought it would look like a 4+ model, and this is not the case, it's just very small. Now the first play feature in the set is the crow's nest, and you can of course put a Galactic Marine on there. This doesn't look really that good, I feel like, because it's pretty open and it looks just a little dumb when he stands on there. You can of course move this up and down and it stays in place pretty solid. The only problem is they didn't include a stopper at the bottom of this thing, so if you're uncareful enough you can just pull it out, which I don't know why. It wouldn't have been much more effort to just include a piece that would stop you from pulling this thing out completely. I don't know why. With this set being a Juggernaut, the most important feature is of course the rolling ability. You can pretty easily roll this set over your desk or floor. I think it will even work better on carpets. You can also turn this set and tilt it side to side, so you can steer either in the right or left direction. And there's a little rubber piece on one of the wheels on each side, which is able to push the set back into its normal position really nicely. Back then they used something different, they used normal springs, which they now switched out for these rubber pieces, but it works, so I'm happy with that. And then there's also this little turret or radar dish, I'm not entirely sure what it is. You can turn this around 360 degrees. The Juggernaut has 2 cockpits and you can open up both of them. You can open up the bigger one by opening up this top, but you have to move up the crow's nest to really access it. When you also open up both of the side panels, it gives you a good amount of space to reach in, and it reveals this little cockpit area with a sticker in there. You can also put a Galactic Marine in there, but you can't put them with their backpack in, so you have to remove them, which is basically the same thing that you could do if you didn't want to sit the minifigure with a Karma. So Lego, why don't you include these physical waist capes? The backpack is also a thing that hinders them to sit down. On the front you're gonna find a pretty big sticker adding some nice detail. I'm not the biggest fan of stickers, especially not with such a price tag. Now when it comes to the brick build wheels, I have to say I think I like them more than I thought I would. I don't know if I still prefer the old wheels on the previous turbo tanks, if I prefer these brick build versions, but I think they look really nice. The sand blue color is pretty accurate to some renders from the Clone Wars, and I think it also looks really good. So yeah, I don't really have to complain much about these wheels. They're also pretty sturdy, so I don't really fear them falling apart while playing with this set. On each side of the turbo tank you're gonna find one of these stud shooters, which you can fire pretty easily. However, they're too far down on the model. They should be further up, and I don't know why this is an issue. You can of course move them up yourself or just remove them, but yeah, why is this an issue? Just fix it before releasing this model. On the sides you're gonna find another turret and some more detail. Also some stickers on the front, like these red stripes there. I think all of this looks really solid. On the top there's this little hatch that you can open up, but there's not really anything in there. It's pretty much wasted space and just for the shaping. Then you can open up the roof from the turbo tank by grabbing the little satellite dish there. And this is a pretty nice way to access the interior, which wasn't in previous models of the turbo tank if I remember correctly. I really like this change. This reveals quite a solid amount of interior space, which you wouldn't expect on such a small model. You also got some space to store all the blasters. You can put all minifigures that are on the Republic side in this set in the set itself. Additional to that, you can also fold down the sides from the turbo tank to access the turbo tank from the sides. Unfortunately, you cannot access the other cockpit by opening up the sides from the turbo tank. They are only there on a slight angle to provide the right shaping for the set. On the top you can put a Galactic Marine into the gunner position of the stud shooter, which you can also fire. This is a nice play feature and looks actually really cool. I like how he's standing in there. It looks just, I don't know why, but it looks cool. However, what I dislike about this little spot here is that there is no hatch that you can close it. So if there's no Galactic Marine standing in there, there's a big gaping hole in the rooftop, which looks a little weird. But you're able to access the interior by opening up this whole hatch. You can put a Galactic Marine in there. However, you need to once again remove the backpack. And in this case, I even had to remove the thing the backpack is attached to. So either LEGO stop including backpacks, which please don't stop including backpacks. Or you could just also include physical waste caves, because you can just remove them as well when putting something down. Yeah, I don't know why, it's still a thing that I don't understand. You have to reach in there pretty deeply to actually sit the Galactic Marine down. However, when he sits, he gets quite some amount of space. And there's a sticker detail as this little cockpit control piece with some entities on. Speaking of sticker details, most of the details you're gonna find at the front of this cockpit side. These are all stickers. The red details are not brick build or anything. These are 4 stickers at the front. Now let's compare the Juggernaut to the ATTE from 2022. The ATTE does not only come with around 250 pieces more, it also has another minifigure more, and it also retails for $20 or 10 euros less, which is crazy. And now just seeing here the size comparison, I don't know, this just makes me sad. 160 bucks for this turbo tank is in my opinion way too much. The ATTE seems way bigger, more accurate to scale, looks better, feels better as I said overall. I don't know, the Juggernaut is just a little disappointing. One of my biggest criticisms about this Juggernaut is the lack of a carrying handle. As you can see, the ATTE does have a carrying handle and the Juggernaut doesn't. This would usually be around the middle section here, but there is nothing, so you have to either carry it from the middle or carry it with 2 hands from the front and the back, which is just not as intuitive as just a carrying handle. I don't know why we evolved backwards, but yeah, I think carrying handles were pretty much standard and now I guess they aren't anymore. Now when you handle the set with a little bit of care and don't shake it, it won't break, but I feel like if you play with it a little bit more roughly, like a kid would maybe do, it is easily to break this model when you handle it at the wrong position, which is just not nice. And this is due to the reasoning that the top is not really secured by Technic pieces, it just sits on these little pillars here, which doesn't protect it at all from force going from above. So this is a little weak when it comes to the design. And while I don't think that you should be able to pick up the Juggernaut by the roof when it is open or anything, when you pick it up by a pretty normal position and just maybe play a little bit harder with it and it falls apart, this just can't be the best design that LEGO could come up with. Just a little more Technic pieces and just more pieces invested into the stability, which would definitely be possible by such a budget. I don't know why they didn't do this. Yeah, this is just, the stability is not as big of an issue as some people try to point it out online, in my opinion, but it still is not the most sturdy model and I don't like it. So what do I ultimately think about this set? Is it the worst set that LEGO's ever released? No, definitely not. I think it still has a nice silhouette and catches the look of a clone turbo tank or Juggernaut, how it's called in the universe. And there's some awesome minifigures which have some flaws, but it's still a nice selection. Is it one of the most controversial sets? Yeah, probably true. I feel like the price is just way too high. It's my personal opinion, of course, but yeah, $160 for just about 800 plus pieces is not really what I would consider fair. I think this is just way too overpriced. I think for the piece count you could have done ATTE and made the set cheaper. But if you choose to do a turbo tank or Juggernaut, maybe build it bigger and include more pieces, or lower the cost for the set that the consumer has to pay. I feel like this is way too overpriced in my opinion. It has a lot of flaws that are there. It's not the worst set, but yeah, it's probably the most disappointing of this wave. But now definitely let me know down in the comments below what you think about this set. Is it the worst set that LEGO Star Wars has ever made, or is it just, yeah, way too overhated? Do you like it or not? What do you think about the minifigures? And most importantly, will you pick the set up or skip on it? If you're new, please consider subscribing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like to support the channel and don't miss out on the other LEGO Star Wars 2025 Summer Wave reviews. And other than that, have a great day.